Good evening, everyone. As we begin this meeting, I'll ask that all present silence their cell phones and other electronic devices and remind council that our procedure bylaw forbids the use of mobile devices during council meetings. We'll begin this meeting by acknowledging that we are gathered on the traditional territory of the Mississauga Anishinaabe. This land holds significant historical, cultural, and spiritual importance for the Mississauga nations, who are the collective stewards and caretakers of these lands and waters. We recognize and respect the enduring connection that the Mississauga Anishinaabe, now of Alderville, have to this land and these waters, and express our gratitude for their stewardship over the generations. As we discuss matters of importance at this council meeting, we commit ourselves to fostering a spirit of reconciliation and partnership with Indigenous neighbors and all Indigenous peoples. May we strive for understanding, respect, and collaboration as we work together to build a more inclusive and just community. And it is 6:31 p.m. I will call this meeting to order. I have a motion moved by Councillor Rowley, seconded by Councillor Wheeldon, that the April 15th, 2024 agenda be amended to add to the closed session agenda an item pursuant to the Ontario Municipal Act, RSO 2001, subsection 239(2)C, a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board. And this is a purchase of land agreement. Is there any discussion? Those in favor? There being none opposed, that motion's carried. And a motion moved by Councillor Rowley, seconded by Councillor Wheeldon, that council approve the April 15th, 2024 agenda as amended. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Being none opposed, that motion's carried. And a motion to adopt. Oh, sorry. Are there any declarations of pecuniary interest? And if so, please state the general nature thereof. And there are none noted. Are there any announcements this evening? I only have one. Last week, I was able to attend the launch of the Murray Canal book by Brighton's history guy, Dan Buchanan, and this was donated. There were a couple of copies donated to the library for anyone who wishes to borrow one. Of course, they're for sale at your favorite local bookstore as well, but this one was donated to the municipality, and specifically for me to make sure that staff and council have access to it. So I've read it. And if there's anyone on council who wishes to have it after the meeting, here it is. And once we've gone through, council will make sure it trickles down through senior staff and anyone else in the staff complement who wishes to read interesting history of the Murray Canal. After reading it, I actually took a little tour because I didn't know there had been a Smithfield Bridge about halfway down the canal. So I had to go see the abutment. Any other announcements this evening? That brings us to adoption of the minutes. I have a motion moved by Councillor Fredis, seconded by Deputy Mayor Anderson, that council adopt the April 2nd, 2024 council meeting minutes as presented. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Being none opposed, that motion is carried. And a motion by Councillor Wheeldon, seconded by Councillor Rowley, that council adopt the April 8th, 2024 council planning meeting minutes as presented. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Being none opposed, that motion is carried. We have no statutory public meeting this evening, which brings us to delegations and presentations. Council will hear one delegation and one presentation this evening. Delegates have 10 minutes and presenters have 15 minutes to provide council with their information. It is noted that language, content, and conduct must always remain respectful. Council will be provided with an opportunity to ask questions of clarification from the delegation or presentation representatives. Based on the information that they have presented, council is reminded that this is not an opportunity to engage in debate with delegates or presenters, nor advance a public policy position. Delegates and presenters are reminded that council does not make decisions during the delegation portion of this evening's meeting. Our delegation, I should say, comes from Elva Strome, Children's Games Coordinator, and Karen White, Bay of Quinte Relay for Life Director from the Bay of Quinte Relay for Life.
Thank you.
You run a great meeting. Holy mackerel, I've run meetings that just nobody's doing this and I'm
Would you like to be on our committee?
If I join another committee, I may be divorced, so.
I get it.
Alrighty, so good day, Mayor, councillors, everyone present, and those attending remotely. My name is Elva Strome. I volunteer as the Children's Game Coordinator for the Bay of Quinte Relay for Life. I am also a participant of HOPE, as I was diagnosed with a stage 4 lymphoma in 2018. My family, the St. Paul's Catholic school community, and a comprehensive team of healthcare providers in Trenton, Belleville, Kingston, and Napanee all played a critical role in my survival. They all have my gratitude. I am joined by Karen White. Karen volunteers as the Bay of Quinte Relay for Life Director. And we'll begin the presentation by thanking you for giving us the opportunity to share information about the Bay of Quinte Relay for Life. The Relay for Life events are held in communities across Canada as one of the Canadian Cancer Society's signature events. Let's start with what the Canadian Cancer Society does. We quote directly from the website. The Canadian Cancer Society offers nationwide support systems for people with cancer and their family, friends, and caregivers. Access to free programs and services that can help manage life with cancer, including a supportive online community, online and phone-based information specialists, and much more. The Canadian Cancer Society 2022-2023 Impact Report includes items such as $50.1 million invested into high-impact cancer research and innovation, the championing of 29 policy changes to help prevent cancer and improve lives, $35.8 million to enhance treatment and quality of life, 273,000 people have found support on cancerconnection.ca, and many other achievements as per the Canadian Cancer Society website. I will now hand it over to Karen, who will speak about specifically the Bay of Quinte Relay for Life event in June.
Thank you, Elva.
Yeah.
Elva is new to our committee and has pointed out that she is a participant of HOPE, which we also refer to as our survivors. So everything that the Cancer Society does is about people like Elva and their survivor, and they are called participants of HOPE because indeed seeing the yellow shirts walking around our track during the survival lap of HOPE, you can see a picture of it up there, is what it's all about. The more survivors we have, the more hope we have, and the more we can share with the community. So the Bay of Quinte Relay for Life's goal last year was $57,000, and we raised $64,000 thanks to our participants and our sponsors. So of course this year our goal is $64,000. You know, success breeds success. You do well, they give you more to do. So this year's goal is $64,000. Last year we had 25 teams registered. It's all about the teams that come out and do fundraising for us. We're a little behind this year. We only have 13 teams registered at this point. So we're looking at promoting team recruitment. I was at the Trenton Y this morning, and we had a good response from a lot of the people that already look like they want to walk. So we're out in the community a lot looking for people that want to join our event, in particular, help us with our fundraising. So you can see the picture up there of the lap of hope and the luminaries, and those are what it's all about. My t-shirt says move and be moved, and that's the theme of Relay for Life across Canada. We move around the track, and the event is very moving. If you've never been to a Relay for Life, doesn't cost you anything. Come on out, observe, feel the movement of the people that are there to help the Cancer Society raise funds. Oh, sorry, just that middle picture. Could you just go back once? That middle picture is my favorite picture. I've been doing Relay for Life for 20 years. taking pictures all the time. That is my favorite picture. If you look closely, it's a mother-daughter. The daughter is a participant of Hope, and the mother is her caregiver. When I watched them walk the track last year at Trenton, I had to get a picture of them. To me, that's what it's all about. I just love that picture. Thank you. Sponsorship is huge. Last year, our goal in sponsorship was 2,500. And we raised 9,000 in sponsorship. So of course, this year they want us to raise 5,000 in sponsorship, and we've already raised over 6,000 in sponsorship. And Brighton is amazing. We've had the Rotary Club of Brighton has come on as a sponsor. The Legion in Brighton is one of our sponsors. So we have sponsors from all over. Originally, the Bay of Quinte Relay for Life were 4 events, one in Belleville, one in Quinte West, one in Brighton, and one in Prince Edward County. I used to chair the one that was at the community center before COVID. After COVID, they amalgamated them all. So we have one event called the Bay of Quinte Relay for Life. We have teams from all 4 communities, and we have sponsorship from all 4 communities. It is indeed an amalgamation of those 4 communities into the Bay of Quinte Relay for Life. So a special shout out to the Legion here in Brighton, who is a sponsor for us, and the Rotary Club in Brighton, who is a sponsor for us. And speaking about Brighton, I don't see the fire chief, but if he was here, the Brighton Fire and Rescue put a team in every year under Dave Redham, who is one of the firefighters in Brighton. They put a team in every year. They put one in when it was in Brighton, and now that it's in the amalgamated event, the Brighton firefighters are there for us every year raising funds, and they're so much fun. And I'm just a little partial to the uniform. So we are on Saturday, June 8th. Saturday, June 8th is Relay for Life across Canada. Every community in Canada that has a Relay for Life event has it on June 8th. We are from 2 to 11 p.m. and we are at the Trenton High School, and it's all about that hope. So join us, please. If you've never been to an event, come on out, just observe. I promise you, you will be moved. Again, we're at the Trenton High School on Saturday, June 8th from 2 to 11 p.m. If you'd like to register a team, if there's anybody that would like to register a team, I think the information is your package for where you can go online and register teams. Just one more thing, Cancer Society this year has mandated all Relay for Life events across Canada be cashless. It's a bit of a challenge for us because we're used to having our teams certainly make donations online, but they also come to us the day of the event with Ziploc bags full of cash and checks and nickels and dimes and quarters, whatever they've got. This year, they've mandated we cannot take cash at the event. So if somebody comes to me with a Ziploc bag full of money, I have to say, please go lock it in your car, take it to the bank. CIBC is our bank sponsor, and they have set up accounts for us. I took $3,000 in the other day just from, because my team is PS, I love you. P for Paul, my husband, S for Steve, my brother, PS, I love you is my team. I put $3,000 in the CIBC in Trenton the other day because I know I can't take it to the event this year. So it's a major change for the event for our participants, but every email I send out between now and June 8th will promote the idea of us being cashless, and this is how you do that. And it's for security. We always have to have a tent secured or a camper secured. We always have to have security on site because our volunteers are walking around with $5,000 worth of money in their Ziploc bags. So it's a good decision, but it's a change, and it will take us a while to make sure people are aware of how that's going to be. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer any questions. In the meantime, Mayor Ostrander has requested that Deputy Mayor Ron Anderson is actually coming to our event. We invite all of the mayors from all of the communities to come to our event to bring greetings. So I thank you for that, Mayor Ostrander. And I hope I can do the land acknowledgement as well as you did, because Chief Ardon Miracle is coming again this year. So I need to be able to say those words without looking like an idiot.
Practice.
Because I was a grade 1 school teacher. I had it printed out phonetically and I still ruined it. I still did it wrong. Anyway, thank you very much. Appreciate your time. and your support. Brighton, you are amazing. You've always supported the Cancer Society, and we really appreciate it.
Well, thank you both very much. And
you.
Ms. Strome, we're grateful to your support team and your care team that you're able to join us here today. So thank you for coming and sharing that story as well. Are there any questions from members of council?
So it really does take a society. That's the new tagline for the Canadian Cancer Society. You saw it on your first slide. It takes a society, and that's what gave us Elva.
Very nice. Members of council? Thank you both.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
I have a motion moved by Councillor Rowley, seconded by Councillor Fredis, that council receive the delegation from Elva Strome, Children's Games Coordinator, and Karen White, Bay of Quinte Relay for Life Director, Bay of Quinte Relay for Life. Is there any discussion? Those in favor? There being none opposed, that motion's carried. And our presenter this evening is Doug Stevenson from the Bay of Quinte Regional Marketing Board. Mr. Stevenson.
I haven't been here since you've had this podium. I think there's even a
It's pretty new to even us, but
there's a
there's
spot for my drink underneath here.
always a danger giving Doug things to play with.
And Candace, are you doing my slides tonight? Ah, terrific. Thanks, Jessica. Well, thanks so much, Mayor Ostrander and council and staff for having me here tonight to give an update on our previous fiscal year, April 23 to March 24. We'll go right into the next slide. Just quickly with an organizational overview, as you know, next one into the partnership. Maybe we'll go, we're just off a little on the full screen side. There we go, one more. Yeah, I think that's good. As you know, we're so excited to have this regional partnership, right? It's multiple communities working together on the North Shore of the Bay of Quinte to drive economic activity. And so next slide, please. We're guided and governed, as I like to make sure everybody understands, by our board of directors. Each of our communities gets to name a representative, and Deputy Mayor Ron Anderson, happy to have him back around the table, and have a terrific board who's been working hard for us. Also, previous Councillor Laura Connect has come on as an at-large recently, which has been really great in terms of building out the skill set of that board. Next slide, please. And then it's the people. You know, I'm the one who comes and presents to you folks every time, but this is my team right here. And without this team, we aren't able to accomplish what we do through the course of the year and what I'm going to take you through with my presentation. But when I talk about my team, I always think about your team too, who's really an extension of what we do. And we're not able to do work with Brighton or on behalf of Brighton without the hard work that Ben puts in. It's probably not a week goes by where we're not in touch, talking something over or working something out. And I know I mentioned this last year, and I'll reiterate it again, having Caroline on the team as well to support Ben and also to drive some of the communications activities and events activities that have been happening through the municipality has been awesome. And I know that both of them are a real asset to our staff every single week. I just want to quickly point out, I'm also really excited on the left there, Jack McAvoy. We just hired him in the fall and brought him on full-time April 1st. So I'll talk in a minute about some funding that allowed us to do that. But we're now a team of 5 because our budget continues to grow thanks to the partners that we're working with. And therefore our responsibilities continue to grow. And so it's been excellent to have Jack at the table too to help pick up some of the work that we're doing. Next one, please, Jessica. Thank you. Here's the funding we were looking at this past fiscal year. So just a little bit over $1 million. You'll see yourselves, as you know, from our most recent multi-year MOU, $1.55 per capita based on 2021 census data. So $18,767, about 2% of our funding through the year. And you'll see too that some of the work that we've been doing from funding applications and sales activity accounts for an estimated 18% of our total budget. So we're trying to do what we can to beef things up and add things to our budget as well. Next slide. One of the biggest ones came through rural economic development funding through OMAFRA in the province. And we were really fortunate to be successful this year on a funding application for $149,988. Actually, sorry, it's not $150,000. We gave $12 back to the province of Ontario. They were quite happy about that. Which we've been using, like I said, to hire Jack and keep him on as a full-time staffer. But also to deliver on our marketing plan, which I'll take you through the duration of the slides. Next one. Let's talk about return on investment though. And yeah, thanks, Jessica. You're getting my rhythm down, Jessica. What we try and do is support investment back into the communities that we work with. And so this year, when we look at some of the work we did related to travel media content, community supports, dollars invested back into the community, about 4,500. So just about 24% of that funding through the year. Next one. And one of the things we always try to do as well is show return on marketing investment. Sometimes marketing is really hard to show return on investment for. I know I've talked about this in previous years. We try to measure as much as we can, and I'll cover this in a little bit more detail in future slides. But this year, our estimated spending generated by Bay of Quinte marketing and campaigns is a little over $4 million. And so that's a pretty huge return on marketing investment based on our marketing budget. So we're really thrilled with that. From a tourism success point of view, it's really interesting the way the travel landscape has been maneuvering, let's say, as we have kind of come out of COVID-19, which is, still somewhat here. Because really in 2023, a lot of destinations saw a sharp drop off in visitation because the rest of the world opened up. So we were really excited to see that our data shows that Bay of Quinte region occupancy is still around the 61% mark, which it was in the previous year. So did we see a lot of growth in 23 from overnight occupancy? No. But the fact that it stayed stable is actually quite a big deal, because all of a sudden you could travel overseas, you could jump on a plane, you could go almost anywhere. And so I know that there were a lot of communities, even in Ontario, that saw a big drop off. And again, just like I mentioned last year, when we saw that same number, it's up about 3% from pre-pandemic overnight activity, which is really great. We want to see that continue to drive forward. And when we look at estimated spending from a tourism point of view in this region, it's over $300 million. It's big business. A lot of people coming here, spending the nights and spending in our local stores. And so something we really want to continue to drive forward. This is some new data that we got, which tracks IP address movement in and out of the region. And so I wanted to show a slide here because it's really interesting. If we remember back to the budget slide, and Brighton's contributing about 2% to our budget. But when we see the 2023 visitation activity from those IP addresses that we're able to access from a movement point of view, Brighton's seeing about 13% of the visitation to the region. So I think that's excellent and something that we want to keep building on, especially as we see that municipal accommodation tax come in over the course of this year and into the future. That's going to accelerate the spending we're going to be able to do collaboratively. Next one. And then I got a couple more data slides that I wanted to show. These ones are about who's visiting here. So you've heard me talk at this podium before about where we spend our money. And we tend to draw a semicircle from the GTA over to Montreal and market very heavily there and include a little bit of northeastern United States. So when we see that Ontario visitors are responsible for about 80% of our travelers and Quebec visitors are responsible for about 15%, that's great, because that aligns with the way we're spending our money. So we like to think that that means the marketing's working. And similarly, in the bottom slide, we do put a lot of spending on that GTA and a lot of spending on the Ottawa region as well. And so you'll see Toronto and Ottawa first, Durham region, which is probably our fastest growth region. And so it's nice to see that the way we're marketing is corresponding to visitation through those IP address movements. Next one. And then just one more on the data side. We all know this, but not everybody does, that this is a real outdoor destination. Honestly, it's one of Ontario's leading outdoor destinations. You know, when you think that the park is right in our backyard with the beach right there, when you think that we've got 23 golf courses within an hour, 1,200 kilometers of waterfront, tons of green space. So it's awesome to see that of those visitors who are coming here, about 30% are doing something that outdoor recreation space. So that's where we talk about developing things like experiences. So hopefully we can be working with individuals who can monetize outdoor recreation, right? So we can continue to drive that economic activity, but in a responsible way that's going to be respectful to our communities. Yeah, next one. Just talk about marketing and tactics. So how do we drive that visitation? You know, we're working across over 30 projects and programs through the course of the year. And next slide, please. One of the biggest one is our marketing campaigns. So I talked about how we're able to estimate spending throughout the region. One of the things that we do is as we send ads out, we're able to see if somebody clicks on our ad or interacts with our ad. And I think I've talked about this at council before. What we do is we work with an agency to use a program that draws what they call a geofence around things that we call conversion zones. So accommodations, restaurants, the park, other places of interest. So we could actually see over the course of 2023, over 32,000 IP addresses that interacted with or clicked on our ads actually physically came into those conversion zones. And so we apply a spending formula to that. And we estimate over $3.4 million being spent in this region as a result of the advertising that we're doing. And that's what we can track. So we know there's more out there. And another nice piece in the second bottom bullet there is over 7,200 referrals to partner and stakeholder websites. So what does that mean? It means somebody clicks on our ad, ends up on bayofquinte.ca. They go, oh, what's this place? Oh, Municipality Brighton. Boom, I'm going here. Oh, you know, Birdhouse or whatever. So we're referring over 7,200 times to partner and stakeholder websites, which is great activity. Next slide, please. We're doing a lot of this also over digital media, where we're communicating with over 60,000 in our following every single week and seeing great growth there, over 10% digital growth, which again, I mentioned a guy like Jack McAvoy and having a bit of more capacity. That's helping to grow our digital following. Next slide, please. And it's storytelling. What do we do with it? We're just telling stories week in, week out about Brighton and about the rest of our communities. Here's what you can be doing. Here's what you can be checking out and going to either by yourself or with your family or whoever. Newsletters are a big one for us. Over 90,000 opened on the year. And Anna Freyberg, who's in charge of all of our communications, sends those out every single week. And they've been an excellent way to communicate with a more dedicated following. Bless you, Candace. Next. bayofquinte.ca was a big project for us in 2023. We hadn't redone our website in over 5 years. So we worked very closely with Ben, Caroline, the other partners to update our site. And we've really seen some great rewards from that. So 104% increase in the users to the site, 142% increase to the page views, 59 blogs published through the course of the year. We feel a lot better about this website. It's working really well. It supports the brand. It's visually good looking. And I know that that has a lot to do with what's been driving those increases in visitation. Of course, again, it's all driven by storytelling. Telling people what is going on at the Speedway. How do you get to the Codrington Farmers Market? Who's going to be there? Who are your entrepreneurs? And what are their stories? And why should we be interested in them? This website has just been an excellent vessel for telling those stories. And I really commend Anna, because she not only gets those blogs out there every week, but she's got a team of writers who she manages through the course of the year to help get that out there as well. We do a lot in the paid media space also, so it's not just us telling these stories. So we try and use leading publications across this region and outside of this region. So 12 paid media pieces featured through the course of the year. Next one. And same thing with travel media. One of the best ways that we can grow our following, but also grow awareness in our partner communities like Brighton, is through travel media. So people who have very large followings on social media, we bring them here. We have them stay in this community. We have them spend money in this community and do things and then write about it and share it with their followers. And we tend to see an uptick in our social activity when those things happen. So we know it's working. Out of home advertising, so multiple billboards and other signage activations throughout the region, especially in high traffic areas. Our discovery guide, which I hope you've seen by now, 20,000 copies distributed across the whole province. And we actually ran out. So we had to print 30,000 this year, which is a good thing. And a lot of people, I think, feel that print is dead, but we very much do not, because it's really been a calling card, I think, not just for our organization, but for this region, and something that helps show people just how much there is to experience around here. Here's one that I had on a little bit off the top on my economic activity slide. So Golf in Ontario is a partnership between multiple destinations across the province. And I remember talking about this last year. Timber Ridge is a part of this one. We are the #1 destination in this province from a golf point of view in terms of this partnership. We outsell the other regions 2 to 1. More people are coming here for golf than ever before. And just over this, from this program, you know, over 1,600 rounds booked, over 530 room nights, over 600,000 in estimated economic activity generated from people coming to play golf. They stay multiple days and they spend money. So it's something that we're really excited about because we only pay $15,000 to buy into this program. Now, I want to talk about a couple of new programs as I finish up my presentation, and one of them is Work in Quinte, and I'll take the next slide, Jessica. I hope some of you have seen this, but maybe you haven't. So Work in Quinte actually began as a partnership between the City of Belleville and the City of Quinte West. And the idea is employment attraction and support for our local employers. So we were requested to take this program over this fiscal year. And so we took that on. As soon as we took it on, we expanded it to include the rest of our partner communities. So Brighton, Napanee, and the Mohawks, the Bay of Quinte, integrating them into the platform. And so we're excited about the direction this thing is taking. It's still pretty new, but it's an excellent tool for local employers who are trying to find people to fill their positions, but also for people who live in the Quinte region who are trying to get through all the noise from a jobs perspective and find quality jobs that they know are local. What we found with the huge players like your Indeeds is it's starting to get a bit busy out there, and some people feel like they're being spammed a lot, especially on the employment side of things. And so we're really trying to advertise this as a tailored local jobs website. And I mentioned that guy, Jack, a couple of times. He reviews everything that comes through here. It's been a huge part of his work portfolio through the year. If an employer signs up, he vets it, makes sure it's real. If a resume is put on there, he makes sure it's associated to a real person. If a job's put on there, he makes sure it's a real job from the Quinte region. So it's vetted stuff. Seeing some really good activity on the website, as you'll see from this slide. Next one. And then what we've started to roll out more specifically in the fall and through the winter is a stronger local campaign. So really advertising through as many of the local channels, because it's really meant to be a local service as we can. Next one. Oh, sorry, go back up one more time. And I want to make sure also to shout out the Brighton Job Fair that was done. And again, the work that Ben and Caroline did for that. It was awesome. We were fortunate enough to partner with them. We had a booth there. We had a great partnership with Loyalist College to bring 2 busloads of students in. Over 70 students attended this thing. And when we talked to the local employers, they were blown away by that. And I think it was also a really interesting exercise in raising awareness within the international student population of Brighton as a community, because they showed up and they had a lot of time on their hands. So after they did about an hour at the career fair, they went downtown, and they were downtown probably 2 hours before those buses took off. Anyway, I think it's an excellent model that Ben put in place and something that we want to continue to be a part of. And I know from speaking with the employers that they were really excited and satisfied about that. Next one. This is also a new project for us. So we had some requests from some of our community partner staff. Would we be interested to get into film and television attraction? And so we kind of sat down as a region and talked it out, and we agreed this is a good idea. So the regional marketing board was put in the lead on this project. We've really just put it together as part of our 24-25 budget, which Ron was a part of reviewing and approving. We've got $35,000 in there to support building out some asset databases related to where somebody could shoot a film. So think Proctor House, right? Sending a photographer there, shooting the location, talking about the details, putting it on our website, using that money also, excuse me, using money to then market that to try and bring people here. So we're going to see where it goes. We've just created a work plan based on feedback from all of the individuals who are sitting around that committee, of which Ben is a part. And we're really excited about it. And so I hope that in a year's time, I'm back here saying, look what we did, and look hopefully at what we brought here. Next slide, please. So just next steps as I wrap things up. As I mentioned, Ron and the rest of the board did approve our business plan a couple of weeks ago. So we're going to implement that. Get working on a couple of projects. Working Quinte needs more work. We're going to update that website. More website work through the immigration side of things. Our discovery guide's just gone to print. We're doing a frontline tourism staff orientation for the first time. So the idea is, you know, working with Ben and his team to figure out who needs to be there, who are receiving a lot of tourists, so that they understand what are the assets out there they can be sending people to. Next one. Because at the end of the day, really, we're trying to keep investing in this community. And next slide, ultimately continue to drive that economic activity in Brighton and across the region. And next one's just my contact, which I think everybody has, but happy to take any questions if there are any.
Thank you, Mr. Stevenson. It's always a pleasure to have you here at Brighton
Thank you.
Council.
Pleasure to be here.
I can remember sitting just about where Councillor Wright is and looking across to then Councillor Connect, who was sitting right about where Councillor Fredis is, as the balance of council ended economic development in the municipality of Brighton back in 2014. And the look on her face, and I suspect on mine, was one of, oh, so this is how this term of council is going to go. Shortly after that, you and I had a conversation where I think you said something like, I'm not even going to try until the tides turn. And I think about 32 seconds after I was elected mayor, you called me and said, now?
Let's do it.
So welcome back again and again. We're glad to have you here, and we're certainly pleased with the partnership you forged with Ben and Caroline and our economic development team. It's
Excellent. Thank you.
It's vital for the municipality. And especially thank you for the work you did during the pandemic, reinvesting back into our community and helping those businesses keep the lights on, quite frankly, and driving business to the community, be it virtually or in reality. It was very helpful. Any questions from members of council? Councillor Wilden.
Thank you. Doug, are we going to expect any suggested policies around filming in our municipalities coming forward?
Yeah, through the mayor to Councillor Wielden, I don't want to speak for Manager Hagerman, but that is a project that we're currently working on. And, you know, just before he takes the mic, maybe we're doing this as a group. So no one has anything in place. And you may have seen it is all of our partner communities. So Brighton, Quinte West, Belleville, Mohawk, Bay, Quinte, Napanee, but also Hastings County and Prince Edward County have put cash on the table, and they're sitting with us as well. We do have a few individuals who have worked at municipalities who did enact some film projects. So we've got a little experience there. We also have film professionals sitting around that table as part of that working committee to build out the skill set. And so right now, there's a policy framework in place that each of the community representatives is being asked to take back, work with their respective clerks and councils to hopefully bring in, so that if we do get the call, we can act quickly.
Thank you, Councillor Fredis. Oh, do you have something, Mr. Hagerman?
Through the mayor to Councillor Wielden. To echo what Doug said, my homework is to create a meeting with one of the onboard experts, and we're going to use the template, and you'll probably see something this summer.
Thank you both. Councillor Fredis.
Through the chair, thank you to Mr. Stevenson. Doug, first off, thank you for a very informative and again, entertaining presentation. Two questions, if I may. First off, last year, you'd indicated that there was grant funding available to local businesses. I think it was about $2,500. Is that renewed for this year? And is there a filing date or a deadline date for that funding?
So through the mayor to Councillor Paredes, we don't have an immediate plan to do our Bay Quinte marketing grants right now. That's not to say it's not going to happen. There is money outlined in our budget for grants and sponsorships. So when that happens, I don't know, because right now, based on our work plan, we're into about November before we could consider something like that. But there will be community supports available at some point. I just don't know if it will be through the Bay Quinte marketing grants. Yeah.
And just to follow up, if I may, last year you were kind enough to offer up some financial support for our endeavor to generate MAT tax. Can we safely assume that that support is still there?
Through the mayor to Councillor Paredes, certainly. And my only piece there, and I've chatted with Manager Hagerman about this, is we would ask that that financial contribution just be taken from us as an administrative fee rather than we receive MAT and then pay you back.
Thank you for that. Anything further from members of council? Thank you, Doug.
Excellent. Thanks so much, everybody. See you soon.
I have a motion moved by Councillor Wielden, seconded by Councillor Wright. The council received the presentation from Doug Stevenson, Executive Director, Bay of Quinte, overview of the 2023-2024 fiscal year. Is there any discussion? Those in favor? Any opposed? That motion's carried. Safe drive, Mr. Stevenson. Madam Clerk, are you aware of any citizens' comments this evening? Brings us to staff reports. Our first report is sponsorship donation policies. Mr. Hagerman, we've read your report. Do you have anything to add or highlight?
Through the mayor, I just want to allude to the heading of administrative procedures, third paragraph down, where it talks about, in accordance with municipal conduct, no employee of the municipality shall accept a personal gift, cash or in kind, from the benefit of a corporate sponsor or donor. That also covers council and the council code of conduct as well as staff. Just wanted to allude to that.
Thank you for that. Anything else?
Not for me.
I have a motion moved by Councillor Fredis, seconded by Deputy Mayor Anderson. The council received the staff report, sponsorship donation policy, and the council review and approve the sponsorship donation policy, and further the council directs staff to implement the policy into daily operations. Is there any discussion? Councillor Fredis.
Through the chair to Mr. Hagerman, congratulations. I think this is great. I love to see the entrepreneurial spirit. Could you maybe just elaborate a little bit on how you envision this? I mean, are we going to see Nike logos on the side of our fire trucks or that sort of thing? How do you see this playing out?
Mr. Hagerman.
Through the mayor to Councillor Fredis, I think that since COVID, restrictions have gone away for the most part. Our events have been highly subscribed and well attended. And because of that, we have had inquiries from local businesses who are trying to leverage those events for the most part. We're not getting the inquiries around getting logos on construction vests or anything like that. It's mostly to do with the events that have been so successful because of our wonderful volunteers at community events and Applefest. So just to provide an example, for instance, let's say Ferretis Construction has an amazing year, and they really love concerts in the park every Wednesday night at in Brighton Memorial Park, and they say, Ben, I've got $10,000 here. I want to sponsor all the bands this year, and I want to come up with a 3-year term. Because it's over the $2,500 threshold, because it's over the 1-year term, we would then draft an agreement through the Treasurer's Department, probably get some oversee from lawyers, and come up with an agreement with that firm and provide that to council for their authority. That's kind of what we're envisioning on this.
Thank you both. Anything further for members of council? Councilor Rowley?
Thank you. And Ben, we spoke about this just before the meeting started. I'm glad to see that it's going to go that way. My concern was as well that we would see a bunch of corporate stickers on municipal owned properties. So I'm good to see this kind of move forward. Thank you.
This pothole repair brought to you by Coco Paving.
That's good. I just don't want to see things like our wonderful stage downtown with a big Nike sign or whatever. I just don't want to see that. We own that. It's nice to have people sponsor events, but I don't want to see them take ownership of our hardworking community buildings and properties. That's all. Thank you.
Maybe we'd change our mind if we saw the number of zeros behind the Nike check. Anything further from members of council? All those in favor? Oh, go ahead, Councilor Ferretis.
I was just thinking about naming rights for the arena.
Do we speak to it in the policy?
Through the mayor to Councilor Ferretis, I know mostly tongue-in-cheek comment there. I think naming rights, if we ever got to that for any of our municipally owned facilities, such as an arena, where you're starting to see that a lot more in municipalities, would be a totally separate policy.
Very well, thank you. And I'm sure King Edward would be spinning around in his grave right now. All those in favor? Any opposed? The motion's carried. Our second and last staff report is a memorandum of understanding, regional recruitment, CAO Arthurs. We've read your report. Do you have anything to add or highlight?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I do not. As you're aware, this was in process prior to my arrival, so I'm happy to hear any comments that council may have.
Thank you for that. I have a motion moved by Councillor Wheeldon, seconded by Councillor Wright. The council authorized the mayor and clerk to execute a memorandum of understanding, regional recruitment as attached here too. Is there any discussion? This is essentially an anti-poaching policy that we've been discussing for quite some time. So I'm glad to see it come forward to council. All those in, Councillor Ferretis.
Just one little question in reading it through. I think it alludes to a requirement for a non-compete provision in physician retention agreements. I'm not aware of any wording for that. Have we seen any? Or will we be seeing some wording?
CAO.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Councillor Ferretis. I have not had an opportunity to meet with the other CAOs to go over any of this documentation, but I'm happy to take your comments and come back to you with an answer to that.
Thank you both. Anything further from council? All in favor? There being none opposed, that motion's carried. We have no notices of motion or motions. We have nothing listed under unfinished business, which brings us to bylaws. Our first is the appointment of a CAO, moved by Councillor Wheeldon, seconded by Councillor Wright. The council gives a bylaw its first, second, and third reading and finally passes on this date, being a bylaw to appoint a chief administrative officer for the corporation of the municipality of Brighton, Elena Arthurs. Is there any discussion? Last chance. All in favor? There being none opposed, that motion is carried. With our thanks. Next bylaw is the sale of lands, part lot 34, Sharp Road. It's moved by Councillor Rowley, seconded by Councillor Fredis. The council gives a bylaw its first, second, and third reading and finally passes on this date, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of an agreement of purchase and sale of lands, part lot 34, concession B, Brighton, part 1, plan 39R, 13598 Sharp Road. Is there any discussion? Those in favor? There being none opposed, that motion's carried. We have no reports, minutes of advisory committees of council and review teams. We have no. Yes, we do. So that brings us to reports and minutes of statutory committees, boards, and external agencies, which is the Brighton Public Library. I have a motion moved by Councillor Fredis, seconded by Deputy Mayor Anderson. The council received the Brighton Public Library Board February 28th, 2024 meeting minutes as presented. Is there any discussion? Those in favor? There being none opposed, that motion's carried. And correspondence, direction items, endorsements, communications, petitions from the County of Prince Edward. I have a motion moved by Councillor Wheeldon, seconded by Councillor Wright. The council support or receive the County of Prince Edward resolution regarding a call to action to meet the deadline of an accessible Ontario by 2025. Councillor Wheeldon, is it your intent to support this?
Wholeheartedly.
Thank you. Councillor Wright, are you okay with that? Thank you. Is there any discussion? All in favor? There being none opposed, that motion's carried. We have no FYI correspondence. That brings us to question period. Is there anyone in the gallery with a question with anything on tonight's agenda? And I see no one on Zoom for that purpose. So I will read the closed session agenda. If council wishes to proceed into closed session, actually, Madam Clerk, I'm going to need a revised motion. No, that's the one I have. Yeah. So while that's happening, if council chooses to proceed into closed session, the live YouTube stream will end for the duration of this evening's meeting. We will not return to the YouTube stream when we return to open session, and we will take a 10-minute recess after the motion has been voted on. You're looking for? Here. I have a motion moved by, and there has been a change to this, Councillor Wheeldon and Councillor Rowley, but I have a motion moved by Councillor Wheeldon, seconded by Councillor Rowley, that council resolve itself into closed session April 15th, 2024 at 7:24 p.m. Pursuant to the Ontario Municipal Act RSO 2001 as amended, subsection 239(2)K, position plan procedure criteria or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality local board, medical services funding agreement, and the with the amendment to add from section C of the same act, a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board, purchase of land agreement, And it is that second portion that has been added to this motion since you signed it. Are you okay with that, Councillor Wheeldon? Councillor Rowley? Any discussion from members of council? All those in favor? There being none opposed, that motion's carried. We will take a 10-minute recess and reconvene at 7:30.